Right. Okay.
Okay, we are live on Facebook. Okay. Hello. Anyway, welcome to our first Shabbat Assembly for Never Again Action Tennessee. Thank you for being here. And I wanted to go into a little bit about like who Never Again Tennessee is, and then also who will be speaking. Um, so um, so my name is Eva. My pronouns are she, her, hers most of the time, and I am one of the coordinators of Never Again Tennessee. And who else is here? Jenna?
I'm Jenna. My pronouns are she, her. I'm located on the eastern side of the state in Knoxville.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, thank you for being here, Jenna. I really appreciate you being here. So we decided to do Shabbat Assembly. Let me explain a little bit about what Shabbat Assembly is. It's kind of a summary of the week and what's going on with Never Again and in the general movement community, specifically about immigration, detainment camps, ICE, and stuff like that. So Shabbat is literally means seven, and it's the seventh day, and it's when Jews take a rest. And it starts at sunset. So we thought we would do this around 5:30, which is like the pregame for Kabbalat Shabbat, which is the pregame for the sunset. So it's when you start singing songs and start getting ready and all of that. And so we thought that this would be the perfect time to kind of before we go into, the sunset and lighting the candles and getting into that peaceful, restful space to kind of do a summary of the week. So, Jenna, do you want to talk a little bit about who Never Again is?
Sure. Never Again is a national organization, mostly Jewish people, but also Jewish allies, and we are working to try to get people out of detainment camps, which right now is mostly people from South American, Central American countries held in ICE detention.
Right. So Never Again started because we are Jews and because we have been genocided quite a bit. And specifically, we're talking, most people know about the Holocaust, and we are doing for folks today what we wish folks had done for us 75 years ago. And it is a Jewish organization, and that's one of the reasons that I love Never Again, because we get to express ourselves through a Jewish lens, and that gives us the fuel to do the movement work that we have been doing. Having said that, even though and I know that doing activism post-COVID is a little bit difficult, but we found ways to do that. So I thought maybe we can go into, Jenna, a little bit about what we've been doing for the past 6 weeks.
Sure. We've done a few different actions. We've had a phone zap going for 2 weeks now, where we're meeting the governor of Tennessee and, oh, my dog, and other representatives, and telling them to please let people out of detention, because with the pandemic, it's not just detaining them, it's basically giving them a death sentence now. And also we did protests at the ICE offices both in Knoxville and Nashville. and we let our voices be heard that we want people out of detention. And we left rocks, which is in Judaism kind of like leaving flowers on a grave. You leave it in memorial of somebody, and it lasts a lot longer, is a lot more permanent. I feel like I'm missing something.
We're missing a couple of things, but we can keep talking about it. I would love to talk a little bit about our social, like how we both did an action at our respective ICE headquarters by ourselves. So how did that feel? Explain what exactly you did on the second day of Passover and why you did it on the second day of Passover.
On the second day of Passover, I went to the ICE office by myself and talked about how we want to get people out of the detention camps, live streamed, and left some rocks there while I was doing that. It was wild. It was scary because most actions you're there with a bunch of other people. You've got legal support, you've got medics, but this time, I mean, I knew that there were people watching, and Eva had her own thing going in Nashville, but it was just me there by myself. So it was a combination of amazing and liberating and terrifying all at the same time.
I totally just want to validate everything you just said. That's exactly how I felt. So let me ask you this, like, if it was so terrifying and it was so scary, post-COVID times, we can't really have the close-knit, physically close-knit actions we used to have. So what compelled you to do this really kind of terrifying thing?
Because it's at least doing something. To me, just sitting around on my rear end doing nothing was even more terrifying because then I have to live with myself doing nothing.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. I totally feel the same way. I also felt like that we needed folks to know that we were there for them. We needed folks to know that ICE is evil. They are the Gestapo. And I also felt like on the second day, slavery. Can you hear me?
Just now. I was about to say, I can't hear you.
Did you lose me for a second? Okay. Yeah. So I was just talking about how Passover is such a powerful holiday for Jews, and I think it has kind of a universal theme because it's about coming out of darkness and going into light, coming out of oppression and going into liberation, right? And so I think that for Jews to do an action on Passover for our friends who are in detainment camps and to speak truth to power to ICE and Homeland Security and all of these really kind of fascist orgs that started, government agencies that started after 9/11, and we don't really need them, and we existed a really long time without them, and they need to be abolished. If we're going to soften their hearts, what better day than on a day in Passover, right? So we did those two. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing.
Yeah, so we did those two simultaneous actions, and then and of course, let's not forget the phone app that everyone can do very easily. We're doing it every Friday. It's Freedom Fridays, where we're going to have a phone app, and we're going to have the Shabbat Assembly, and we're going to talk about freedom and liberation. every Friday. So we did that. So one of we also wrote are in coalition with a lot of abolitionist organizations and also Nashville Jews for Justice, and we co-wrote a letter with Nashville Jews for Justice asking Governor Lee to use his power to release folks who are in detainment or detention here in Tennessee. We don't have a detainment camp in Tennessee, but we do have a lot of immigrants who are waiting to go to detainment camps because ICE is like just picking them up. ICE has more than their fair share of PPEs, and they are still rounding people up. So that is not okay, and we need to continuously call Governor Lee and let him know that it is not okay. Call your state representatives. Call folks. Call folks. I read somewhere that in one detainment camp, 75% of the people have COVID, but overarching in all the detainment camps, it's about a third, probably more now, that contracted COVID. So these detainment camps have become killing camps. They've become that. And this is how genocide starts. We as Jews know that. So we definitely want to do our best to put pressure on the powers that be to release our friends who came here to this country for themselves and their families to have a better life. That's it. Decent folk who just, didn't want to die and wanted to live a decent life. So that's, if you're not indigenous, that's your family story. If you're, or maybe you are descended from one of the conquistadors or the pilgrims or whatever. But for most of us, if you aren't indigenous, that's your family story. So these people are just doing what your family did. And so for that reason and many reasons, we must do all we can to shut down the detainment camps. Right, Jenna?
Absolutely right.
So, having said that, one of the evil corporations is CoreCivic. Jenna, do you want to talk a little bit about CoreCivic?
They suck.
Why do they suck? Yes, they suck. They're terrible. And they used to be Corrections Corporation of America. Their stock went down right before Trump was elected, and they were reinvigorated with the Trump election, and they rebranded themselves as CoreCivic.
Yeah, but they're basically just there to make money off of detention and exploit.
Right. They're a private prison corporation. There are two in this country, Geo Group and CoreCivic. CoreCivic's headquarters is where, Jenna?
Nashville.
It's in Brentwood, Tennessee, y'all. And it used to be in Green Hills, which it was definitely easier in Green Hills to protest them. But we did a physically distant vigil at CoreCivic, where we were able to live stream a bunch of movement leaders in Nashville, immigrant groups and other abolitionist and decarceration groups, and we were able to light candles and say some Jewish prayers and a poem and read the names of the people that have already died in detainment camps. And I don't even think it was a full list. There was about 150, and it was not a full list. And this was like right when COVID was starting.
There's a lot more now.
There's a lot more now. There's a lot more now. And CoreCivic and Geo Group are definitely making a lot of money off of those deaths and off of the bodies of needed to speak their names. I hope you guys can hear me.
Just lost you for a minute there.
Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. I think my internet's a little weird. But yeah, so we did that vigil. So, and we've done a couple of other things too. And I do want to let you know that Never Again National is having, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Never Again National is having a leaders gathering on May 24th. It's going to be from 12 to 7. So I do want to let folks know about that. And of course, you can hit us up for more information. So that's like a little bit of summary of what we've been up to. I would like to do a mazel of the week. So I'm hoping to institute for Shabbat Assembly, mazel of the week. So it's kind of like a shout out. And so I think, Jenna, you would agree that our shout out should go to Nico Gardner-Cerna, who graduated from Vanderbilt during a COVID pandemic, and who is a very important and valued member of our team, and he's family, and we love him. He's amazing. So mazel tov.
Even with all the craziness of COVID graduation.
Yes, and he did our first video of Never Again Action Tennessee University. So we're also starting to do some popular education pieces on immigration. So he kind of did an overview, and it is on our YouTube, our Never Again Action Tennessee YouTube channel. Definitely check that out. Very well done. So Nico is our punum face boo boo baby, who we adore very much. He's brilliant, and he's going to do great things in this world, and we're grateful to have him. Mazel tov, our baby Nico Gardner-Cerna. We love you. Mazel tov. So yeah, we've done a lot. Wouldn't you say, Jenna?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially with it being pandemic and a whole lot of nothing going on otherwise. We've accomplished a whole lot out there.
Yeah, we have, and I'm very, we would love if folks would come on board. If you're Jewish or an ally or an immigrant and you want to get involved, you don't have to do much. Obviously, we're kind of all staying at home anyway, but definitely let us know. Facebook, email, so on and so forth. We are here you can give us a call. We all we're Jews, we like to talk, so give us a call. I would like to transition to talking about my friend Chet. I know that Yonatan was asking about Chet. If that's okay, Jenna?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I have known Chet Sray for 20 years. He is a friend of mine who got swept up, and so he is a Cambodian refugee. He's been in the United States since he was 2 years old. We're all he knows. Nashville is his home, and he's currently in a detainment camp in Louisiana. He's in a detainment camp in Louisiana that is run by Core Civic. It's 3 hours from New Orleans. It's hard to get to. He's been there for a few months now. He had a court date today, and he is in danger of being deported. Now think about this. This boy, or he's not a boy, he's a man, but we always think of him as our baby. And and we all love him. But this person, um, is 40 years old, and he spent 38 years in America. He's in danger of being deported. I don't even think he has a passport. He had a court date today, and the judge just said that he would make his decision in 2 or 3 weeks of whether or not Chet would be deported. My baby friend, baby Punim face. So I just wanted to put a face on. I think that sometimes the numbers are like a little overwhelming, like 38,000 people in detainment camps or whatever. And so we kind of forget that every single one of those people is somebody who has a whole universe around them, people that love them, people that are rooting for them, people that need them in their lives. In Judaism, a single person is a universe, and killing a man or killing a person is like killing an entire universe. And Chet does know Cambodia. Who knows what will happen to him if he is deported? And his entire family is here. Like his entire extended biological family is here, and his entire family is here. So all we know is in 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have the judge will make a decision. That's all we know. So Yonatan, free Chet now. It's upsetting, I just can't help think about all these people with all these families who came here because they thought that they could, not die. And Chet actually was too. A lot of his family had been tortured. It's a whole story. And that's why they came here. I don't think that anyone leaves their home unless they have to. And what we are doing to people who are seeking asylum, who are working hard for their families, who are, just human beings being human beings, is frankly disgusting. And it turns out that one of the people that got swept up by ICE was my friend Chet, who's more American than I am, loves America. I'm not a fan, honestly, but he still is to this day, because being in America saved his life. So, any thoughts, Jenna, about that?
It just always makes it a lot more real when you have a actual person that that you connect it to. I was volunteering for a while with KETA, which was the group meeting buses at the Greyhound station in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
Just actually seeing the faces of the people coming out of detention. And
so explain a little bit about what KETA. We have the Welcome Committee in Nashville, and Mariposa Collective in Memphis. Can you explain a little bit about what KETA is and exactly what y'all do?
KETA is a collective of people. It stands for Knoxville Immigration Transit Assistance, and we meet Greyhound buses in Knoxville coming out, normally out of Texas is where most of our buses come from. We had some coming from Atlanta every once in a while too, but mostly coming out of Texas with people fresh out of camps, literally with the clothing on their back and nothing else. trying to get up to where their sponsors were. Some of them with no English language skills and just given a bus ticket and no directions beyond that. So PETA in Knoxville and other groups across the state and nationally had a network of people at bus stations to meet them. We would have people that spoke Spanish, and we'd try to have some people with other languages on backup too. So occasionally we'd get someone from Africa that spoke French and some other languages. So had those people on backup, and we would give them information that they would actually understand on where their layovers would happen, and they needed to stay on a bus because the bus was only going stopping in a town for 5 minutes, things like that. Get them so they could actually understand what they needed to understand, and also get them some food in their tummies. We'd try to have things on hand like small little stuffed animals and coloring books and things like that for the kids, because traveling with kids is crazy under any circumstances, let alone you're trying to keep your kid quiet on a bus for like days if you're going all the way from Texas up to New York. So a lot of amazing people doing that.
Yeah, can you imagine? I actually remember the first time I got involved in immigration rights. I was in my 20s, and I had just taken a Greyhound across the United States, or I like hitchhiked a little bit and then taken a Greyhound. You know how you do in your 20s. So I was in California, and this is before ICE. This is California Border Patrol. They came on the bus, and there was a family there that I'd kind of like been like, you know, hey, how you doing? And I made like, you know, peekaboo with the 3-year-old, you know, how to, you know, whatever, you know how you do on the bus. You kind of like insta bond with folks. Is what else are you doing? Well, CBP got on the bus, took them, put the 3-year-old with the Barbie backpack in handcuffs, put all of them in handcuffs. But the thing that got me was when CBP, California Border Patrol, put the 3-year-old in handcuffs with the Barbie backpack. I you know, I was ignorant. I didn't know that they did that. I mean, I knew that Border Patrol existed. I knew it wasn't cool, but seeing that kind of like abject brutality, that's what got me involved. I can't stop, won't stop. I always think about that little girl and where she is with the Barbie backpack. So I hope that a lot of other folks decide to get involved, and we will make it super easy for you to do so. So we've got the vehicles and the training available to you, and we're a lot of fun. So there's that, and we kind of treat each other like family, and as one should. So we have some fun. But we also know that this is serious stuff because we're fighting for people's lives. There is a mitzvah in Judaism called Pekuach Nefesh, and it means to preserve life. So all we're really doing and never again is like attempting to do that mitzvah Pekuach Nefesh. Anything you'd like to add to that, Jenna?
I think that pretty much sums it up. And not only Judaism, but most other mainstream religions have some sort of similar value that they have for life and loving your neighbor and helping other people out. So regardless of what faith tradition you're coming from, it fit in there somehow, theoretically.
Yeah, exactly. And so now it is time, but because we are a Jewish organization, it is Torah time. And so I thought maybe it'd be a fun thing. A couple of things that we would always do for Shabbat Assembly is, of course, summary of the week, mazzels of the week, And then hopefully we'll be talking to leaders in the immigration community who are doing this movement work and doing some interviews. But also we do Torah time. This week's parsha or portion that we read from of the Torah is Pinchas. Say that 10 times, or Pinchas, or Pinchas. There's a lot of stuff going on in Pinchas. We don't have to get into all of that, but a lot of it has to do with inheritance, and it's really patriarchal, and it's going to piss you off. But I would like to talk a little bit about the daughters of Zelophehad. The daughters of Zelophehad. Can you guys hear me?
You're good, yeah.
Okay. The daughters of Zelophehad had to petition Moses to get their dad's inheritance. There were no male heirs, but then they were just not going to get the inheritance. They were just going to distribute it like we don't exist, like women don't exist. So the daughters of Zelophehad were like, oh, hell no, you're going to give us our money. And that's my favorite part of Pinchas. And we can talk for years and years about the patriarchy and all the stuff and like how we're raised. But what I love about it is that they advocated for themselves. So I think that the takeaway, can you hear me? Okay. I think that the takeaway from that is okay, you couldn't hear me for like a little bit, but did you hear about Zelophehad and the daughters?
Not all of it, no.
Okay, so basically, the story of the best part was Zelophehad's daughters petitioned Moses to get their money, because if they hadn't, their inheritance, they would have just distributed that inheritance instead of giving it to the daughters. So they had to step up, and they had to raise their voice, and they had to speak truth to power to get what was theirs. And because they did, this is now part of Jewish law that daughters also get part of the inheritance. And it wouldn't have been if they hadn't spoken up. So I think that that's a pretty cool part of the Torah portion, and it also speaks to what we do as folks, movement leaders, and activists, and folks who try to speak truth to power and stand next to folks who are fighting for their liberation. That we've got to speak up. It's our duty, because who knows how it can affect the generations to come. So use your voice, right?
Absolutely.
Well, y'all, I think this has been a pretty good first Shabbat Assembly. Hopefully next week we'll have maybe a member of Mix or Workers' Dignity or Mi Gente to interview. That would be awesome. And don't forget that it isn't sunset yet. If you're Shomer Shabbat, you still can do the phone tap. Please do. I've called 5,000 times today already. It's super fun. Just don't like cuss or anything, just, But even if you're tempted like I am, I want to wish those who celebrate a peaceful and restful Shabbat, and come sunset on Saturday, get back to work. Let's get back to work trying to free some folks, right?
Yep. Keep on.
Go ahead.
Keep on keeping on. Once we
That's
can.
Right. Jenna. I mean, I was going to do her mazel till next week, but Jenna is a warrior queen, and everyone should be like Jenna when they grow up. The thing is, we can't stop because people are suffering, and if we have voices or if we have the privilege to use our voices, we need to use them. So we can build power together, and the more we're together, maybe not physically, but, you know, together, the more power we have. Say that again?
Working together, we've got power.
Yeah, working together, we can have power. Exactly, Jenna. So, yeah, Shabbat Shalom. Good job, everybody. And we'll see y'all next Friday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Shabbat Shalom.